Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's Suj.
And my name is James.
And this is just another episode of the show on a Friday.
Where we just chat nonsense
or
reminisce about all the nonsense we've chatted over. How many podcasts, Suj?
4 figures, James, 1,000. About the amount of money that Cristiano Ronaldo earns in about 7 minutes, I would say.
Did it take that long for him to earn £1,000?
1,000 episodes. And I suppose we had like a mini asterisk, because when you get to 1,000 episodes and you do so many random things that we have done, what do you consider a podcast? Like, we got the audio from the live streams, we got the audios from the live shows, we've got the 24-hour live stream. There's bits and pieces all in between as well. But we're saying 1,000 podcasts that are podcasts, not even close to 1,000 bits of content. It's going to be well above that, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Like this doesn't include the Patreon pods. This doesn't include things like my deadline streams. It doesn't include, I'm sure it's going to get a mention, but the 24-hour stream. Yeah. We could have chopped that up into about 20 podcasts. We never chopped none of that up.
No.
So, yeah, we have released 1,000 separate pieces of audio with a couple of bits of caveats. So technically, if you go looking hard enough, you will actually find there has been 1,007 audio podcasts. In fact, I think it's 1,008 now. I did not include the 5-minute Ivan Perisic chat on deadline day. It's not a podcast as far as I'm concerned. No. So I didn't include that. I also didn't include our first ever Patreon podcast is out in the universe somewhere. So that exists. So I didn't count that. We also had Takeover Week. So we had 4 podcasts from different content creators that we published to help give them a push. I haven't included those in the numbers. And there's one other where there's like a duplicate knocking about of something somewhere. So, yeah, this is podcast 1001, Suj.
Yes, indeed. You did the old oil correspondent show yesterday, which I'm halfway through, I'll have to add, with Johnny and Sias. Anybody that wants a bit of Clash of the Correspondents, which is actual episode.
I'd also like to get a dig in as well. You see them 1,000 podcasts?
Yeah.
I've been on every single one of them.
Not bad.
You?
Not bad. Fuck knows. I don't count. Whatever I've been on has been a few too many. But this episode, we've obviously asked the community to come together and bring us some thought. First and foremost, I'm blown away with the interaction.
I was worried no one was going to respond.
I don't know where to start. Is how I honestly just don't know how to start and where to start. So we have to say that thank you to everybody that has jumped on the tweet that James put out with your memories. It's going to be my Friday night, mate, today after work. When I get home, sit back, relax, I might open a beer and read through all of these comments and replies. We're coming up to nearly 200.
What are you going to be doing now?
No, we're going to flick through some of them now, but there's no way we're getting through 150 comments.
There's too many to say thank you to every single one of you, but genuinely thank you.
We need to do another 24-hour live stream to get.
We are not doing another 24-hour live stream. It is not happening. I will die.
In amongst chatting about all of this stuff and reflecting on 5 years or however many episodes of Planet FPL, there is a deadline tomorrow. We still got to do a differential show today. You've got to get prepped for a team news stream and all that kind of jazz as well. So for the next hour or however long we chat, let's forget FPL, the actual deadline this week, and we'll talk about some other stuff. You ready to get into some of these?
That's everybody comments? Shutting down the audio or leaving YouTube. No.
Listen, to be honest with you, based on the feedback and the comments, I think people will be quite interested in seeing what we
serious. If you're stressed about your FPL week or anything like that, like, park this for now. Listen to it after the deadline.
Fair play. Right. Shall I start pulling out some tweets from people with memories, questions, and interesting bits and pieces?
Yeah, go on. I've read most of them.
You have, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't. I've had a skim through and it just was loads. So only one place to start, James, which is Ronan. I did come across the podcast, but not my cup of tea. I found it boring and bland was bored very easily. And on the other hand, FPL Wire and Andy are fire, each to their own.
Yeah, that guy got a block real quick. It's just literally so rude.
I don't know why we bother.
He's so rude.
I mean, to be honest, he hasn't sworn or called us. He just said it's not his cup of tea.
Big shout out to Andy and the Wire guys, etc. But yeah, it's not the time and place, is it? Nah, it's funny. I saw Dan was like, "You're a dickhead."
Oh dear! Look, there's a big broad spectrum of FPL content out there. We fit into our own space, and each their own for sure. FPL AR07 says, "Do you remember what you covered in your first episode, and how different was it to your podcasts now?"
I could not bear the idea of listening back to that first ever podcast, mate. Nah. It was called pre-season something or other, so I think it was kind of talking about pricing, I'm gonna guess, in the summer of 2017, but I wouldn't want to listen to it, and I don't advise anyone listens
back
to
then it as well. I mean, we didn't know ourselves in terms of what the most natural format for the show was, and I think you take a lot of your cues for good content from other podcasts and how they set up. And at the time, I think my feeling
Suj, I thought it was a one-off.
I thought 30 minutes. 30 minutes was the right length for a podcast, because obviously TV shows at the time, if you'll remember, not even at the time, but back in the day when you had TV, half an hour was how long TV shows were and stuff. So 30 minutes was the right amount of time, or 45 at a push. And I think it took a bit of time until we realized that, you know what, for the main pod, the long form hour and a half is what's natural. And that 90 minutes evolved naturally. So back then, I don't remember the exact content, but it wouldn't have been massively in depth, because we'd have kept it short and sweet and just crack on. And
we didn't really have a clue what we were doing really till we were probably 25-30 episodes in terms of having an idea of the kind of format that we wanted to go down, and that kind of thing. We tried stat pods, we tried eye test pods, we tried data pods, we tried everything just to, what do we like, what don't we like. So yeah, there are in season 1 there are like some statistical heavy kind of assessments of games and stuff, and then I think we came to the common ground of realizing that what set us out differently to other content creators was we're proper fans. That's not to say that other people aren't, but we go regularly. That's our real passion. Our real passion is not FPL. Our passion is our football teams.
FPL Poker Player says, "I've got another question, boys. We haven't answered the first one, but let's get into this one. How much guidance or direction did you give ManChild when he was making the intro music? And do you know what production software he used to make it? It's perfect and it will never outdate." Well,
Suj wants to change it and I won't let him.
ManChild didn't make the intro music.
Who made the intro music?
Me.
You made it?
I did indeed. So the way the intro music was made, well, the software we used was a software called Audacity, which loads of people will know. It's an off-the-shelf, free audio editing software. It's probably the best free audio editing software that you can get as a off-the-shelf. I mean, most people that I know who edit podcasts as hobbyists and what have you use that. If you speak to ManChild himself, he's got some nuclear next level software that he uses. The music is you can buy music, royalty free music. So I picked up the royalty free music, just went through a website and found that you can rip off audio from YouTube videos. So I found a website where you can.
I don't know if you meant to tell anyone this.
No, it's fine. It's legal. I haven't broken the rules. So I had a bunch of different commentaries that I put together. That I downloaded, famous iconic commentaries that you remember. I think Maradona turns like a little eel and all that jazz. Everyone knows the most famous commentaries, and just whacked them over, and that was it. And then it just stuck. I would never change the music. I definitely would change the commentary. I'd
Why?
mix it up.
Greatest player of all time. Sorry, Ronaldo fanboys.
Yeah, but the game changes, and I think just time changes, and you need to freshen things up sometimes. I think it'd be good to have changes from time to time for novelty reasons. For example.
We did when we did the podcast after Maradona's passing.
Yeah,
we changed the commentary on the intro music to Maradona's goal against England.
Sounds like a little eel. Yeah, exactly that. Right, FPL linchpin. Well done, guys. Outside of work and FPL, do you hang out, e.g., pub, kids, birthdays, holidays, etc.?
No, we hate each other. Isn't it obvious?
We work in the same office 37.5 hours a week or whatever it is. Well, but no, not always, because some days you're remote or doing COTC or whatever. But generally, we work together in the entire work week. We'll have the odd FPL social. But then James is always at Spurs, like one day out every other of the weekend. So we don't not socialize, but we also don't like madly socialize.
No, there's no. Do you want to go for a beer after work?
Yeah, it
got kids
really
and stuff, so no. Like we could plan it to say, oh yeah, do you want to have a beer on a Saturday in a couple of weeks or something? But then we won't just do that by ourselves. We'll invite everybody else.
Invite people and hang out and whatever else. We don't live far away. It's not like it's just one of them things. Like, might watch odd games together. I think the World Cup will be good because we've got the 100-inch screen in the office, and then we can think about if we're going to do any watch alongs or anything, if there's any interesting games that might be worth it. Ryan has added a screenshot, James, and he says nothing tops this in the history of Planet FPL.
Oh, I know what that is. That's scenes from Champman, isn't it?
Champman FPL scenes, James, scenes.
Yeah, this is another one. It's like
going crazy.
It's not a Planet FPL podcast memory. It's a stream. It doesn't count as one of the 1,000. But that's from
celebrating a goal that was never even
virtual
scored.
fantasy game. Yeah, virtual fantasy game.
Never even scored.
Yeah, it was good though. I loved doing them streams. Absolutely brilliant. It's great to see Champman still going strong and stuff. You never know, you might see me before the end of the season on there, maybe. But yeah, it was great doing those streams. Obviously, it was during the COVID period and stuff as well. Just then with us going full-time on Patreon and stuff, I couldn't continue them with the same effort that I had originally. But I think that those streams were good for us as well. I know it helped a lot of people, but it was good for us as well because we got a lot of new listeners and patrons from that time and stuff as well. So that season 1 of Champman was great. It was brilliant.
Massively. That whole COVID period was really interesting because a lot of people needed content and we were able to help people. I think we're going to jump into a few comments in a second where people have talked about how the podcast has helped. And that's the kind of stuff that always makes me think, I'd make a bold statement. I don't think we know the full extent of the impact we have with the podcast.
No, it's difficult to understand. So even just to think, the casual messages you get, you're in my ears every day and stuff like that, and it helps. You don't take it for granted, but you don't realize the impact that you might be having positively on people. It's very difficult for us to say, we have a positive impact on people. It's difficult to foresee it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's works / a chat about football for us, right? So, but he's very humbling.
Jimmy K, his highlight of the Planet FPL history has to be Suj claiming Antonio was tired before his haul versus Norwich.
It's definitely one of the iconic moments, mate.
Atul Balaji also says, my question is if Antonio looked tired yesterday. He scored last night. He scored a worldie. I
saw it was packed.
I think I don't know if I didn't actually check the official attendance.
30,000.
Yeah, maybe. I don't believe that.
Well, you think it was less?
Yeah, I think it's less.
Okay,
it's less. But credit to the Danes because they were out in full force, 600 of them. He scored a worldie yesterday. You seen it?
I've seen the goals. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a worldie.
No, I know.
All tap-ins.
For context, for perhaps people who may not remember, during the COVID period, the restart period of the Premier League it was 2 years ago now, isn't it? So it's 2020. Yeah. There were many people contemplating a potential Michail Antonio captaincy away to Norwich. And Suj let out the famous line of, he looks tired. Anyway, Antonio scored all 4.
Oh, mate. He's still going to get dropped from the West Ham team. He says eventually, FPL Panda, can you get Jamal Lascelles Big Macs for the occasion.
Oh, big tasty. Jamal Lascelles became an early kind of Planet FPL cult hero.
Yeah, he did.
And I kept missing out on his returns and stuff. I remember actually putting him in the team and then not buying him because of fear of John Lundstrom, and he scored on the Sunday against Wolves. There was the one I'd had bets on him as well. Who did they play? They drew at home to someone 0-0, and he had a header cleared off the line. And I'd had loads of bets on him, like to score and Newcastle to win 1-0 and stuff like that as well. Yeah, I don't know why he became Big Tasty. Why did it become a burger thing? I literally no idea. But Jamal Lascelles, if you ever hear Big Tasty, that's who we're referring to. He became a Planet FPL cult hero for no reason. Like many footballers become cult heroes within clubs, and people on the outside don't understand why. That's basically what happened with Jamal Lascelles and me.
Yeah.
For no reason.
A few more mentions on Antonio being tired. Like, he's mentioned quite a lot, the Antonio being
tired. He will be.
Amber Redmond, who has listened to us for so long and supported the show, says, must be Suj James triple captain on Leroy Sane.
The video you made with ManChild as well was so good.
That was properly funny because that was during COVID as well. I feel like we were in the office. Not many people were in then.
Was it? No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. It was on a Friday. I remember it being a Friday when there was not a lot of people in the office.
It was the year before.
And we just pissing about. Like literally, it was like 2:00 in the afternoon or whatever. And then one thing led to another. And we just ended up creating. That was probably my most enjoyable content because it was done so quickly, and ManChild kept adding to the video and making it funnier. That was pretty cool.
Is Leroy Sane still in your basement?
No. The other thing that Amber points out
was it 1 point he got?
Yes, I think he didn't start the second game. Amber's also highlighted the story that James told about the worst date that he ever went on.
I can't remember that. I'm in trouble now, wasn't I? Worst date I ever was that. I can only think that's we're trying to remember what I have said and what I haven't said on this podcast now. Must be the girl with the scampi fries. It's got to be that. Must
scampi
be
fries. I don't remember that.
This girl with the scampi fries breath. She kept eating them.
Oh, mate, that's bad.
It's got to be that.
That's
Must
grim.
be.
That is grim. Right. Okay. Let's see. James, do you want to do it? Do you want to answer the question that we've been asked 100 times?
How did we meet? Oh, fucking hell. Go on.
No, you answer it. I did it on the Juice.
I've done it so many times, Suj. Yeah, but not everyone would have watched on Juice. Go on, you do it. I get it like on every deadline stream.
The day job is a little packaging company. If anyone's interested, you can go to www.carrierbagshop.co.uk. Yes, it's a shop.
For some reason, they don't sponsor the podcast. I don't know why. They just don't.
They just pay the rent on the studio. And all the rest. Anyway, yeah, James came in and got a job in sales way back when. And then we just started chatting about football. Next thing you know, this guy's got a bit of a brain on him and he talks a lot of sense. And you've done quite well in FPL. And I always just wanted to start a podcast.
Haven't done well since.
Wanting to start a podcast, really get involved in that space and thinking about what's an interesting area that we could get passionate about. And also there's a good community and mass market. And that was the one that we fell into, and it just naturally went from there. Tried it and it worked. So really, really cool. Clayton, congrats, guys. Best in the community by a mile. I appreciate you saying that. He says the 24-hour live stream sums up everything. Nothing else to say. That was pretty epic. The 24-hour live stream.
Yeah, and for the 100th time, we're not doing it again.
It was a great. I think we should do it again. Personally.
No,
but also,
I'm not doing it again.
What was the difficulty?
What was the difficulty?
Yeah, man.
That when I rose out of bed at 3:00 the next afternoon, I was so disorientated, bearing in mind this was summer. I was so disorientated, I got out of bed at 3:00 in the afternoon and put the light on. Why are you putting the light on? Literally standing there going, I don't know.
Mate.
I don't know.
We had such a wide variety.
Killed me. It was
Such a wide
brilliant.
variety of guests on, and covered so many different elements. It was really good. Really good.
I think for a one-off piece of content, we did 24 hours live, and we did all of it. We didn't disappear for 3 hours and have other people sit there. We did all of it, and I think it wasn't just 24 hours of crap. We had brilliant guests on who all contributed, and every half hour, bar we had the kind of 2 hours of Champ Man in the middle and stuff. Every half hour / every hour felt like something different. I've never watched back the final 6 hours. I'm too scared to watch it because I know how drunk I was.
I remember you being drunk and Tom Cantle pulling out a quiz and you still getting 100% or whatever on the quiz.
Tom put a reply and he mentioned the 24s. He's in there somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. FPL Chancer, our friend Dan, who's been to plenty of the events, says his favorite moment was someone asking on a Q&A who would take the moodiest dump. Which manager?
Oh, do you remember who we said?
Sean Dyche.
Yeah, Sean Dyche.
Yeah.
Who would take the moodiest dump?
It's only because Big Sam wasn't a manager at the time in the Premier League. I bet Sam would.
Sean Dyche with the old curly finger. It's gotta be the come here. I'll give you the curly finger. It's got to be. Had to be Sean Dyche. But who would we say now? Sean Dyche not a Premier League manager anymore. Who are we saying now instead? Moodiest dump.
Forest manager Steve.
But Cooper. I was thinking that as well. Maybe why?
Cooper. I don't know. Just that. Yeah. He just looks a bit like he would take a moody dump.
Really. Antonio, is he coming to the reckoning now? Antonio Conte?
Nah.
You feel like he'd come out smelling fresh or something? Smelling the roses.
Have you seen the little video someone made? Is it Twist and Shout with Conte and Tuchel?
Oh, there's so many going around,
Andy FPL mode. His question is, who would you most like to appear on your show if you could have anyone?
I feel like we've had most people that we know from the FPL content creator part of it.
It's got to be Messi or Ronaldo.
Messi ain't gonna speak no English.
So get Cristiano because he's got the biggest Instagram following. So we'll clearly get the most views out of him. We'll milk him for what he's worth.
I'm gonna say Maurizio Pochettino.
Yeah, it'd be interesting for a little while, but then it'd get boring.
Someone's going to do an 8-hour podcast. I think half hour all day. I'm going to say Poch.
Jarvo says, if you could record a podcast episode in any location in the world, where would it be?
Not Nairobi.
Nairobi's banging, mate. You just need to get yourself over there.
I've got nothing against Nairobi. It's a long-standing joke.
I suppose there's probably two answers, James. For me, it would be Bali. I've not been, but I know I want to go. And I know when I go, I'm never going to come back. So sitting in Bali, being able to record a pod and put it out would be amazing. But I think you should provide a footballing location.
Okay, I shall. On the roof for White Hart Lane.
On the roof?
Yeah.
I couldn't do it, mate. It'd be too windy.
Probably,
microphones and stuff. You need to get those big fluffy things on microphones to stop the wind noise. You need one of them.
Well, give your mate ManChild a call and see what he can do.
How much is it to do the roof walk?
Oh, Skywalk. 25 quid maybe.
Okay.
I will do it at some point. Yeah. I'm petrified of heights, but I will do it at some point.
Steve Wright, your pod about Wagatha Christie. Yes, indeed.
I saw my wife died in. She was like, I didn't know they did that. Yeah, babe.
Yeah. Wife loves listening to Planet FPL. Wifey, as Planet FPL wifey says, must be my superior football knowledge. I don't think we can argue with that.
Again, the Wagger for Chris is a Patreon podcast, though. So it's not one of the thousands.
But your wife, you need to have words with her.
Oh, yeah. What's she done?
Said, I didn't know there was a Wagatha Christie pod. Handbags. I think we've established that we now start talking about man bags. Actually, no, they were women. It was Clean Rooney against Jacob Avani. That's handbags. Content was handbags.
I've also not had any feedback from any patrons yet. No one has said you can't use the term handbags. No one has said that to me. So as far as I'm concerned, we're okay.
Amber Batman Joe's made me laugh. One of my favorite moments ever. Nagasaki
Oh
were talking
my
about
lord!
motorbikes, weren't we? Kawasaki,
I think that's
Nagasaki.
probably the funniest moment. I think. Good God, you tell it. This was on the 24-hour stream,
I,
steaming,
what
and
was
we
the
were playing a game.
question?
We were
were we doing Pictionary?
yeah. Is it no, not Pictionary? It was
Articulate.
articulate. Yeah,
And you had to describe. Were you describing Nagasaki or Kawasaki?
I can't remember, but
James was.
I said. I think it's a Japanese bike. It's what I said.
Nagasaki was the place in Articulate that James had to describe for me to guess, and he started talking about motorbikes. And at the end of it, it's like, that's Kawasaki. It's not a place where a bomb was dropped in World War II, mate. Yeah, and also when I come across stupidity like that, I get irate. Like, what the fuck is Nagasaki?
Sorry, mate.
It's all right. I've forgiven you for Nagasaki.
It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was drunk.
Let's see if we can find another question. Angus McPhail. Question is: Clash of the Correspondents, but with players.
Ooh.
Who would you want on it?
Do we need to do someone from every team?
No. I think we just do one Clash of the Correspondents.
One Clash of the Correspondents.
Which two players hate each other? Can I ask a question? Did Varane and Casemiro hate each other? I've been seeing a few videos
that I'm aware of,
where it's like Varane, Casemiro turning up in the United dressing room and Varane not being particularly welcoming.
He's a good signing, I would say, for them. But
how old is he?
But so their previous signings from Real Madrid have always looked like good signings and not been. He's 30. Let's say, right, United Liverpool's a big game Monday, isn't it? Clash of the Correspondents, United versus Liverpool. We want a bit of needle about it, though, don't we? I'm going to say Andy Robertson. And
why?
Because I think he might have a pop. I think he might have a pop.
Dean Henderson, he loves having a pop at the moment.
He's not at United. He's at Forest at the moment, isn't he?
Oh, you want someone from United?
Let's go for Harry Maguire. Fuck it, Andy Robertson and Harry Maguire.
Lauren has said that her favorite moment was your missus bursting into a deadline stream, fuming because she'd missed the deadline.
It's also not one of the 1,000 podcasts.
Taking a leaf out of my book, missing the deadline.
No, it was perfect comedic timing though, because literally, I looked at someone on the stream said, "Did you remind your wife or something?" And I looked at the clock and I didn't even realize. I'm sure it was a night deadline, so it was like 6:30 or whatever. I looked at the clock, bang! It turned 6:30, and the door fucking burst open. Screaming at me, "Why didn't you remind me about the deadline?"
I'm trying to work there.
I was just sitting there and taking it. But I'd had that moment of oh shit, and then it was there in front of me as well.
Oh mate, probably did all right for her anyway. Lauren's also said we get the difficult moments right, whether it's racism, homophobia, club struggling financially, a footballer committing a crime, and so on. But I have to admit, that's so much more interesting than FPL, which is just a game of luck. Oh shit! Have I alienated the listeners? No, there's skill involved.
We know that most people come from the FPL, but I feel like with the volume of stuff, we felt this for a while. The volume of stuff that we do, we have a responsibility at certain times to cover topics that are important. Because the reality is, people see like homophobia in football or something like that. Okay, it's skip. But maybe if we do it, those people who listen to us will listen to it. And if it changes enough people's opinion who might be homophobic or racist or different, then we've won, haven't we? I mean, Lauren did a very brilliant podcast with me very recently on Patreon, previewing the Women's Euros. We'll dig her out publicly and say she tipped Sweden to win it. She's got it wrong. But yeah, we'll keep doing the important topics when the time is right. I mean, I think that the one for me that probably as well, which people don't speak when these come up, people mention Berry, racism in football, homophobia in football. The big one for me was doing the Y word. Was obviously like emotionally really important to me to come out and publicly like say I'm not using that word and I haven't been, and I think the football club should stop and try and educate them. The amount of people at the time like I don't even know what this is. I don't understand what's going on. So I think like if you can help educate people as well with stuff like that, yeah, when the time's right, we'll keep doing the difficult topics. We always will.
Indeed. A few people have mentioned James, and I'm going to mention it. And I know you're gonna say when we talk about the deadline streams, yeah, they don't count as part of the 1,000 podcasts. But people saying you threatening to block and mute spammers on the live stream. And truth be told, like by the time we get to deadline stream, for me, I don't normally have too many decisions or dilemmas to make because we'll have discussed it on the old differential show and what have you. But for me, it's just it's sheer comedy the way you deal with these people. Or
I am
so
brutally different on the deadline
brutal,
stream to other shows, 100%.
I think the brutally kind. Like there's no taking prisoners, but you're not also like that harsh with people. But it is literally very direct and brutal.
It's 100 mile an hour basically,
balance.
And I don't understand honestly, unless people are kind of debating or waiting on team news. So I get like if people are trying to get a leak on the Tottenham team on Saturday, I can understand, but I don't understand how people get so last minute in their decision making. But yet people obviously are all the time. Got all week to make a decision and stuff.
Yeah, casuals.
But people obviously do want it lastminute.com. Sometimes I do them streams and I genuinely think afterwards I ain't fucking doing that ever again.
Yeah.
Because people just don't listen. But I have other times I do it and I think I've had so much fun doing that.
Yeah. Talking about being brutal, Rob Picks jumped in. James told me to fuck off on a 24-hour live stream, and Suj called me a bastard as recently as Monday's Patreon Q&A.
Deserved. All deserved.
Yeah. So there you go. But nah, thank you so much, Rob, for your support. And he says, of course, thanks for all of the content. Shout out here from Ian Parrin, who says he is honoured to have been invited on as a guest. To be honest, that was a great pod when Ian Parrin came on. Like, I love pods where you learn something new. You're like, okay.
It went over. Me and Ian went really deep in terms of how it fits for Sky Fantasy. Yeah. How TV selections are made and stuff. It was a great pod. That's a lot of that was actually quite timeless. You could go back and listen to that now and get a real good kind of grasp and understanding how the TV companies come to pick their selections and stuff like that. So Ian is one of. I mean, I probably should have a list of how many guests we've had. I've removed the correspondence for the moment. General guests. We haven't had that many, but they've all been absolutely fabulous. I mean, when we've done specials like Champions Week this year, I did the interviews with the guys. We did Content Creator Week last year and stuff. I mean, we've never had anybody on afterwards. I've gone, oh, that's a bit of an arsehole.
Well,
like everybody's brilliant. Oh, go on, dig them out.
No, I'm not going to dig them out. As I say, that's a perfect segue, James, because you mentioned Champions Week, and we did have last year's FPL winner on the show, Jamie Piggott, and
I know what's coming here.
He wants to know, James, what is your overall wank this year so far?
We should do a poll. Have you done more podcasts or had wanks? We should have it as a poll. Oh my god, yeah, that was Jamie was such a trooper about that. I mean, I've spoken to a few of the patrons about it and stuff. So I'm talking to Jamie, and then literally just instead of wank came out of my mouth, and you could see I'd said it, and what clock that I said it. We both knew it, so we had a giggle about it. But then I was losing the plot. Jamie held himself together so well, and I could see he was talking and his chin was going. And I was like, even though it's on Zoom, I was like, don't make eye contact with him. Both going to fall about laughing here. So yeah, I got the winner of FPL on and asked him about his overall wank. As I said to many people, yes, he did finish first.
FPL Sponge says that the live stream on the way to Manchester in the car was
oh god, yeah.
And we've got to give,
that was one of your dumb ideas that turned out quite well.
There's a mention for Q&As and random chat, including ManChild. I think we should give a little 2 minutes of appreciation to that guy, ManChild, because he was there at the beginning. Like obviously he's around less nowadays, but he's never forgotten. But he has given us some moments of absolute genius as well. When he learned that
Isaac's success
is a real person, I is a success. I think he absolutely
He fell on the
Wet
floor
himself.
laughing. He couldn't
Yeah.
believe that was a real human
That's a
being.
real name. Is a
Isaac
success.
Success. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he still sends me the best voice notes, like the one that we played in. Was it on the differential show? Cash Monies. He's got
Cash
Muniz
Monies. Yeah,
as his
he got about
striker.
25 points last week, didn't he?
Who?
ManChild in
Is that
FPL.
it?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
disastrous.
dear.
But he said he's got half the team don't even play.
Oh, fair play.
He doesn't
But he
care.
had Salah captain. I think he's got KDB in there as well, isn't he?
That car journey up to Manchester, and to be fair, that was just a brilliant whole gig of a weekend and stuff as well. As one of my favourite moments was doing the live show in Manchester to take us out of the kind of London comfort zone with Southern softies up north and stuff, and have meet so many brilliant people and have such a welcoming up there was great. And on the car journey on the way up, Sarah and Duck. I mean, there was so many little funny, brilliant things in that video, which was completely not fantasy football related in like any way at all. It was just three blokes driving up north in a car. That was it.
Nonsense. This is a good one, James. Well, firstly, let's talk about Andre L, who says, thank you so much for the pod. It's just like sitting down with two mates in the pub having a chat. And Andre, to be honest, thank you for your support, because he's one guy that's always showing.
He's relentless, Andre. We love him.
And we really, really do appreciate it. And it doesn't go unnoticed at all. This one's good in FPL hindsight. It has to be Arjun M. Shah, ManChild, laughing his head off at Suj's suggestion James's best quality when he was an employee was bringing cakes for everyone on a Friday. I didn't even
when you did
like
that. You know when you did was on the 500th podcast.
Well, we did the Q&A
half
together.
ago. Yeah. Suj said that my best quality was bringing in biscuits and cakes for everyone on a Friday. Like fucking charming, eh?
Nah, it's important at work to be a good team player and care about everybody. And people are like, what can I say, right? You're good at selling paper bags. Who's gonna be interested in that, James? I'm thinking, but relentlessly on a Friday, you were known for James's Friday treats, which is
is anyone taking that mantle on?
No, but we
now
offer free fruits, James. Well, all your Friday treats were shit that would fatten people up or give them diabetes. So,
to be honest, it was a major problem for myself more than anyone.
Oh, mate. We've got a few more. How did we meet? James, what's been your favourite moment on the show?
Favourite, just one moment?
Yeah. And that's coming from Michail. What's your favourite moment on the show?
I'm trying to keep it podcast related rather than like the 24-hour streams and stuff like that. Favorite moment? I don't even know how you go about picking. I've forgotten way more than I've done. Do you know what I mean? Like forgotten so many things that happened. Think that the funny things like that, to be honest, like the me getting completely ripped with cake and biscuit gate. Antonio, Leroy Sane, some of the things you've mentioned. Hysterical. Favorite moment, I'm gonna say, I think probably the first time we did Correspondent Week.
Yeah, that was decent. That was really good. Yeah, no doubt about it. Do you remember when we had Content Creator Week and General Mark just casually out of nowhere just being like, Suj, how many deadlines are you gonna miss this year? Fine.
Get welcomed on the show and he's completely buried you.
And then when we had the meetup in the summer, someone delivers me a condolence.
Oh my god! Did we have? We did know who it was.
It was
Danny.
Danny.
Yeah, Danny. FPL sick of it.
But
funny.
But obviously, we thought it was General, so I released my beef video with ManChild outside the pub. But obviously, Mark's a pal, so we've never taken it serious. But that was pretty funny, to be honest. I think his timing and delivery when he threw that punch.
I think that as well. The fact that happens, just for context, we're in the pub. There's 80 other people there from the FPL community, and someone sent Suj a bunch of flowers saying how many deadlines you're going to miss this year, basically, or something. A lot of people would have taken that really badly. You know that?
Really?
I think so. Yeah, some people could have taken that really badly, but
Oh.
we're both very happy to laugh at ourselves, right? It's not a
Yeah, I
problem.
think what we do with like this is not a measure of who I am. This podcast, it's something that I do, but like this podcast is not how I measure. Am I a good person, or have I achieved what I want to in life,
It's how I do.
or that kind of stuff? Well, you're doing pretty well then, mate. If I'm
Oh,
honest with
cheers.
you. One thing that you love and hate about each other: be as open
Oh,
and
brilliant.
honest as you possibly can. Oh, big man things.
Have I got to go first?
Well,
As employee, I
that was
probably
aggressive.
shouldn't I? But something I love and something I hate. I love that this man gives me the freedom to do what I do. And that I've never known anybody. People say, "Oh, James, you work you work so hard and stuff." I don't work as hard as Suj.
Well,
Suj is
debatable, but yeah.
relentless. I've never met anybody in my life who works like you do. And obviously
Kind of
most of that is
insane.
outside of fantasy football, but then that rubs off in terms of what other people do for you and stuff as well.
Yeah.
I think my dislike will be that sometimes you don't see the value of what you bring to the table for us.
Yeah.
You don't know how good you are in terms of shutting up and letting me speak. Like that's a brilliant attribute to have, mate. Most people want to talk back with me. The best thing to do is just let me talk, mate. I think you're amazing at it.
Fair play. Well, yeah, I kind of know my place, I would say, is fair. I think the interesting thing in all of the feedback and the comments in this tweet is that it's very personal as opposed to show related. It's about you or me as opposed to the show, which I think is right. Obviously, we are the show. And I'll come back to another point that I'll make in a second. Love and hate.
Oh, you ain't said what you hate about me.
Yeah, I'm about to.
Oh,
I'm
go on
about
then.
to. Don't worry.
So I need to hide.
I think that your focus on fatherhood. I know because my kids are older, and I also have a lot of friends that kids are an inconvenience in their life, but they're a necessary evil. And it's like you love your kids, but you don't like your kids. You know, where you're like, oh fuck, I've got to take them here and do this and do that with them. I'm the opposite. You're the opposite, and I'm like, well, they're there to enjoy it, man. So I don't think other people will know. Well, they will now because you do share a little bit of when you're hanging out.
And I change his nappy on deadline streams.
But yeah, I think that's one thing I respect in people is when they have that attitude towards parenthood. Like, it makes a massive difference, and it tells you the values of people. What I would hate, I would say, I still don't think you know your ability.
I think everyone saw it in game week 39, didn't they?
All right, Pirlo. But you know, like there are mainstream media platforms and shows out there, and you might often say that it's not you're not cut out for it or you're not made for it for whatever reason. I don't think you are. I think you're oblivious to it.
Suj, we are mainstream. We're massive.
Yeah, fuck it. Like, to be honest with you, whoever owns the audience is who owns the audience. We own our audience, and our audience watch us for specific reasons, and that's enough, right? You know, we don't need anything more. But I struggle to see people on mainstream channels like Sky Sports and ESPN and BT Sports and what have you that talk more sense. It's not common. So yeah, I still don't think you realize where you're going to end up in this game. It's not going to be. It's going to be bigger than this, or the show will eventually become huge. But yeah, have a bit more, self belief.
Well, I'm planning on option B, if that's okay.
As long as you keep bringing in cakes and biscuits on a Friday.
Well, we've learned that I've stopped doing that. If I kept doing it, there's no way I would make episode 2000. Be gone long before then.
FPL Indie wants to know who's your favorite atomic kitten.
Oh, that's very
Same
easy.
as yours, because I don't know any of them.
Natasha Hamilton by absolute miles.
Yeah, mine too.
Like, I literally dated a girl who looked like her. So
take your word for it.
Michuli.
Michuli.
Yeah, obviously.
Oh dear. Paul Goldsmith. His favorite thing about our show is hearing Harry banging around in the background. It reminds him I'm listening to content creators, not professional experts. whatever, Paul. I'm an expert. Firstly, I'm a FPL expert.
Yeah, I I will not allow that term to be used. I am not an expert. Yes, we're just two normal people who talk about football and do podcasts. And yes, unfortunately, my house is not big enough because Suj doesn't pay me enough. Therefore, often you will hear my son.
Scruffy Nerf. James's handling of the diaper incident with minimal profanity. So yeah,
I mean, that's only last week or so, isn't it? But yeah, it was all right. Yeah,
fair play. Let me fit.
Hang on, diaper. No,
Yeah,
nappy. We're not having diaper,
nappy.
mate. Nappy.
Frode Halverson. How did you meet your girls?
Oh wow, that's trouble, isn't it?
Yeah,
I met mine in the Fox in Palmer's Green on a night that I wasn't meant to go out. He hadn't had to shave for about 3 weeks. I went out dressed like a tramp. This is honest truth. And yeah, we met.
Yep.
And I told her within about an hour of meeting her that I was going to go to bed with her that night.
Nice.
As you do, which obviously didn't happen. It wasn't till the next morning.
I as part of the old little cheeky little business portfolio, James, some people might know that I have a small dating business, and it was bigger back in the day in the mid 2000s, so 2005, 6. We used to do singles events in London, so we used to do a lot of speed dating events, and we did comedy nights and shit like that. So I met my missus at a comedy night that we were hosting in Soho. She'd bought tickets or whatever. I was man at the door, checking people in as they were coming in. It was my events company, so chopped them off. She was first in the queue with a couple of her mates. I was like, all right, cool. She's all right. Have a quick chat. Once the comedy show started, nothing to do, right? I'm just having a few drinks and watching some comedians. And so I just went down and sat down next to her and was chatting and all the rest of it. And then they left. Her and a mate left, and one of her other mates was left there. And she goes, you guys got on really well. Let me give you a number so that you can, message her or whatever. Because I hadn't actually taken her phone number. I said, it's all right, love. I've got the whole fucking database. I've got her email address, date of birth, phone number, and everything. And I just messaged her the next day, and that was that. Yeah, literally just took it out of the database. Said we were chatting yesterday. It was cool. Thought we might want to hang out, and that was it. I think 2 days after that, we went out on a date, and the rest is history.
Nice.
12, coming up to 12 years. What year are we in?
I think that the ladies in our lives do need a shout out. Yeah, I mean, I've been living with mine now for over 11.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose they're stuck with us now, vice versa, aren't they?
Mm. A few shout outs for Chips, James. Chips.
Yeah, I
some of
suppose
these chip pods have been some of the most popular. And
do you know what? To go back to the question you had earlier about like pride and stuff. Obviously, I really came out and kind of gambled on what fixture would go where during this last season that's gone, and to nearly have hit it spot on through just working out logic of one team onto the next team, etc., and getting it. I don't often get shit right, but I did that time. Bar one farcical decision from Sky to put Burnley and Southampton in the basically the wrong day. Took a lot of pride from that. I think the one that people think of it was from season 2. I think it was like episode 43 or something. I can't remember, but we got a lot more listeners off the back of that where we done a chip strategy kind of. It was like in January, we'd been waiting. I think we waited for the FA Cup 4th round to go, and then you could really kind of map up the path for the season. And we picked up a lot of new listeners from there. A lot of people say that's the first one I heard was that episode in season 2. So, I mean, it just wouldn't be commonplace for us now not to do chip strategy podcast during the season. Other than, I think that Pranil, I went on the wire a couple of weeks ago. Pranil was right at this point. I was like, there's nothing to talk about at the moment, mate. Because of Unlimited, there's literally, unless you want to use them in random weeks now, no one needs to think about it till
next year.
Till Unlimited at the earliest, yeah.
The White Eagle, Mark, he says, outside of drinking a beer, there's maybe one thing I've done 1,000 times. Well done, gentlemen. But what Mark doesn't say is what that one thing that he's done 1,000 times.
Maybe you can ask Jamie Piggott. Maybe Jamie Piggott will know.
I thought he might be implying that he's listened to the show 1,000 times.
I think that probably is the case, Suj, yeah.
Oh dear, there's a few more mentions of Antonio, but this one, FPL stomach. Suj casually spilling tea over the laptop.
Oh my God.
That was a bit of a disaster.
Yeah, and just like not doing anything about it. That was like, I think that was during the Euros, I want to say, I think. Yeah, you spilt the tea, didn't do a lot about it. I was like, your laptop is about to blow up here, mate. What are you going to do about it? I'm lifting the thing, shaking it. Yeah. We've had a few of them, especially I think Zoom ones. People might not be able to see drinks go over and whatnot. So you just carry on.
We could add some wobbly tape, the little white table that we used to have that used to wobble. Yeah, mad one.
I don't remember that.
Then the little white table that we had in here with the green legs.
Did we put paper underneath it?
I think we did. Bit too much.
Yeah.
McTavius, who came up with the idea for correspondence? That would be you, sir. And also, how many Crystal Palace fans did you ask before you found Mig? He wants to know.
That's in all honesty, 43, I think. No, it's absolutely none. Mig was the only Palace fan I knew at the time. Yeah, it was my idea, and it's one of them clear memories I have from the first couple of years of us doing stuff. Was literally me walking in your office lunchtime, said I'm getting us 20 correspondents.
Yeah,
and you went, okay,
all right. Yeah.
Just do it. And to be honest, that's what's so funny. I think people are like, oh, how did you evolve? Like most of our conversations are, should we do this? Yeah. And just do it. There is, I think your case on that was like, okay, crack on then. Do what you want to do. And the original idea was to look at it having a correspondent for each club, generally for kind of written form stuff. But then getting to know the guys, you realize like, hang on, we're not written content. We're a podcast. Let's get them on the podcast. And they are Clash of the Correspondents every Thursday is an absolute staple of the week. And to give them kind of all equal share, whether they're the Liverpool correspondent, you know, the Crystal Palace correspondent, give them an equal share throughout the season to get their opinion across. And it's not an hour of FPL. I mean, sometimes with the guys, I think, oh my God, I don't know how to end this because there's so much I've still got to say. It was like that with Si and Johnny the other day. We could have done an hour just talking about the respective takeovers of those clubs. Got like half hour and it's like, shit, someone's going to want to fucking know what's happening about Cole. Is Cole Walker the best 5.1 defender or something? We've got to get that in as well. But yeah, never short a conversation with the guys. Every single one of them absolutely outstanding.
FPL Rockstar, shout out to Rocky. He says, congratulations. Always enjoys the Monday pod. If you don't mind on Monday, Rocky, just about, probably, but we normally record about 10. So about quarter to 10 in the morning. If you don't mind tweeting, Suj needs a rest, I'll be quite happy because it means I won't have to show up.
Is he going to stand in for you? That'd be good.
You heard it here first, Rockstar. Jump in James's DMs if you don't.
I'm just going to put it out there again, but like Suj is disappearing for another week's holiday in a couple of weeks. Indeed. So I've got some great guests lined up.
Lovely jubbly. Looking forward to that. Jimmy the Claret, shout out Burnley. Big Tasty Saga is excellent, and the Berry podcast as well. For sure.
Berry, yeah.
I mean, that was a saga in itself.
And it's looking like, and we've obviously done part 2. I think we will eventually do part 3, which is a happy ending. By the sounds of it, is coming. So, yeah, I found that quite distressing. The fact that a football club died, even though I had no affinity with Berry or anything. I found it generally distressing to think that could happen, and it was allowed to happen. Was upsetting, and I think again it was one of them. We did it, and it wasn't something that people expected us to do, but we felt it was important enough to tell a story and put it out there. And so other clubs, because we know we've got loads of followers who support lower league football clubs and stuff, and kind of represent their story as well, and stand up and say this can't happen again. Listen, nothing we said on that podcast changed what happened going forward with an Oldham Athletic, for example, or Wigan. But English football is ingrained in its culture. Our pyramid is important to us, is what I always say. It's not just about the Premier League. The Premier League needs all that underneath is really important to our game, and it will never not be that way in this country. English football is very unique to other divisions around Europe in that sense. The Championship's what, the third or fourth most watched league in Europe?
Wow.
Crazy when you think about it.
For sure.
I mean, in terms of attendances in stadiums and stuff.
Lee Jackson. He obviously wants to know whether or not it's Bailey.
I mean, he's been one of my correspondent mistakes, in fairness. He's got to work on his banter, Lee. What's he got for me today?
Bailey or Almiron.
Yeah, exactly. What a joke. Ridiculous. Almiron, because I think he'll start.
Yeah, Bailey's benched, sir. Not many other questions, James. Quite a lot of memories that we've covered off as well. I would say, when I go down the list of people that have commented and questioned, I'm impressed with the number of people here that I've met in like face to face, in person, and that's
probably
really,
more than half.
Really cool. Like, there's a lot of people that I wouldn't be friends with if it wasn't for the show, that I wouldn't have hung out with. I've got a West Ham crew with Sham and Dan and Claire and all these guys that will come and meet up before the games. I wouldn't have known any of these guys if it were not for FPL, and we'll meet down the Red Man and have a beer or two. And yeah, they're not listeners of the pod, or they're friends that you'd consider. There's loads of other people that you hang out with, like Angus is up in there, and his knowledge of the Championship and everything below. It's like
quiz champion as well. First ever patron quiz champion, Angus.
Indeed. But it's awe-inspiring. I think that's it. It's like I'm blown away with the number of people that we've been able to meet in person, which is what I suppose is the proudest thing of the show, is that there's a community now, a community that can support each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's not part of the 1,000 pods, but yeah, the proudest moment of all was having the Troy Deeney cojones, if you will, to start Patreon, be honest about why we were doing it, and now grow this community that's got 660 people in it, who support us not because they want to be better FPL managers. I'm sure some of them probably do. They've got the wrong patron, but it's more it's the support of the content and the community we have and all the stuff that goes on every day in Slack with various stuff. So yeah, it's that's the proudest thing of all, is that you and I have built this, mate.
Yeah, I definitely think so. It seems like a bit of a shameless way to plug Patreon, but it's not really about plugging Patreon. But I think when we launched Patreon, we probably didn't know what shape it would take.
Not a clue. You don't know if it's going to bomb and we're going to lose listeners. It can go badly, right?
It's true. I think
it's a dirty word to most people.
It is. But I think the focus is always and has been for us and will continue to be giving value to people, right? Like figuring out when we're taking people's money, you feel a responsibility to deliver something back. And I actually look at the Patreon offering, and I'm actually quite proud of what people get for the money they spend. I think is fair game. And at that point, you don't feel dirty, as you put it, having a Patreon. We went very quickly. I think we got to 100, 150 very quickly. Like people that had been asking us to set up a Patreon for a couple of years previously, and then we slowly trickled up to like 300 to 400 in that community. And then it's steadily grown, but now it's getting to that like number where it's like, this is a sizable number of people. This is a really good number of people to have within the community and support and show love and what have you. Like, yeah, it's a really good place to be. If anyone wants to join the Patreon community, that's what we call it, because
go on, do the dirty sell. Do the dirty sell. Someone listening to this has listened to all 1,000 podcasts and never given us a penny. You know that.
Yeah, and I'm good with that.
No,
at
I'm
the
not.
end of the day, everyone's circumstances are good. Whilst the bills are paid, it's all good. But it's there as a community for people to interact with on Slack, and we've got all different channels that people can chat to each other, ask questions from fans of different teams, and we've got hundreds of different teams covered with fans, not necessarily hundreds of different channels. All different games, like a lot of Sky players take it more seriously. A lot of people are in there just
the Sky channel's great
and not even bothered about FPL.
Imagine that state of that Wolves channel now they bought Mateus Nunes.
Cheeky little.
They're all on cloud 9 at the moment, aren't they? Bless them.
They're all joining Jamie Piggott's club, are they?
Quite possibly, yeah.
But yeah, funny games that we play, prize leagues, meetups. It makes it all real. It's not just us putting content out there and whoever listens. It's us creating content with friends, which I really enjoy. So yeah, definitely the community element of it has been really good. People know where they can find it. It's patreon.com/Planet FPL. 1,000 episodes in, James, and we've only just scratched the surface.
Well, that's good to hear. Where are we scratching next?
Well, I still think our YouTube game's got so much more we can do.
Yeah.
Our website's shit. Everyone who's ever been on it, don't go on it again.
Have you blocked it yet?
No. We need
Do
to
that.
take it down, and I don't know how. I need to ask ManChild. But yeah, we've got so much more that I think we can do and grow our community by, and it always comes down to hoping to give people value. I actually think it's a good way to wrap in terms of the show. If you ever have anything you think we can do better, then always slide it into James's DMs or my DMs, or put it in the tweet below, because I think now it's got to a point where we really want to kick on and make the show even better. 1,000 episodes in, man. Mad.
Yeah, it is crazy. I think for the benefit of those on YouTube, one of the things we constantly get is no graphics and stuff like that. I mean, on a show like this today, I don't know what sort of graphic we would be expected to put in, but there are times where we have certain discussions, and yeah, we can put things up. Now we've got Nico settled with us as a video editor, which essentially our patrons pay for. Then yes, we can add and improve the quality of what we're doing. He obviously gives me a lot more time in terms of what I can do, in terms of my own research, my own knowledge, etc. So yeah, we just want to up the game. That's all we I think have ever wanted to be, is the best that we can be.
Yeah, agreed. Massively. And we'll keep striving to do that. I hope you enjoyed listening. We're going to continue to keep growing.
And I have one final message, which I say a lot when we do pods like this or similar ilk. My DMs are open. My DMs are always open for anyone who wants to have a conversation. I promise you, if you send me a message request with the word false and it's about FPL, I'm not even going to look at it. It's getting deleted. Sorry. I love you. Good luck. Just I don't understand the sliding in the DM business. Just tag me. Tag me. If you tag me on Twitter and say @Planet FPL pod, what do you think of this? The chance I'm going to respond. But DM, I can't bothered. Why do you want to do this privately? So my DMs are open for people who want general help, important stuff like mental health, stuff like that. Anytime. I will listen to anybody and their problems. That's why they're open. Otherwise, I would just close them.
Did you see Harry Kane's cheeky little FPL tweet?
I did. Yes. Yes. Basically telling everyone to captain him.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, but that's how I read it. No? How did you read it?
He was copying your line, James. Play it your way. What do you say? Good managers make their own decisions.
Yeah.
Play it your way.
Just basically saying, fucking captain me, bitch. I actually tweeted him as well yesterday, because he was asking for questions celebrating 10-year anniversary. I said, can you get me a ticket for Bournemouth away? Because it's going to be nearly impossible.
Nice. Listeners, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Patrons, you have the differential show coming at you later on today, where we'll run down our final thoughts before game week 3. There will be a deadline stream tomorrow. Is that right, James? What time?
Yeah, 10 a.m. and then it's in a cab, so I can get the Spurs at 11 o'clock.
Spurs v Wolves tomorrow. So wherever you're listening, if you're on YouTube, subscribe and get notified when James goes live tomorrow. And of course, you'll get notified when the next episode of Planet FPL goes live. On Monday will be a full review of all of the games from the weekend, which will be 9. We'll miss Liverpool, Manchester United, but we'll wrap that up later in the week. But hope you enjoy your weekend. Have a great time. Thank you so much for your support over the last 1,000 shows. And stay safe. Ciao for now.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you, Suj. Be nice to each other. Cue music, please, ManChild.